Hello guys and gals, it is I, Pyro, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my magDK build for the Elder Scrolls Online Summerset update, and I call this build flareaon. If you know who flareaon is, you know what I'm talking about, but for those who don't know, it is a Pokemon. But anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the build. But before we do so, I do want to state that this build is for it's for low CP players who want to participate in trials and veteran dungeons, and second, it is for players who do not want to grind so much for the gear that is usually considered very meta, such as burning spellweave, or maybe they don't have gear such as Ciora and they want to obtain it but they don't have anything to substitute for it as of yet. This will help the players who don't have those things. That's what this build is for. And third, it is for players who do not have things such as Zons because they do not have the dungeon, or maybe perhaps it is too hard for them. This will help them substitute that as well. So yeah, let's get on with the build. So we are going to be starting off with our skills. Our first one is Harness Magicka. This will help with our survivability. Second is Inner Light, and this is for the max magicka that it gives us, because not only does it give us max magicka the skill itself, but the mage's guild skill line itself will give us a little bit of max magicka increase. So that's why we also have Shooting Star equipped. Our second ability, which I don't know why it won't let me slot it here, is Engulfing Flames. This is a dot, meaning damage over time. It is flame based, and it will also make it as that our other fire damage based abilities will do 10% more damage to enemies that are affected by this ability. Next, it is Flame Lash, and this is our main source of DPS that we will be spamming the most. It is our spammable basically, and this does again flame damage, and it heals us every now and then for a lot, and it's very useful to have. And next is Burning Embers, another damage over time abilities, and after the effect of this is over, which is about 10 seconds, it will heal us for 75%, which is very useful for keeping us alive. Next, it is Unstable Wall of Fire. This is the Destruction Staff AoE ability, and the reason why we're doing this is so our build can be more bursty and we get more damage from it. The other one just makes this ability much wider and a little bit more, and makes it last a little bit longer. Next is Eruption. This is an AoE that does 899 flame damage over time, and this will accompany Unstable Wall Flames when we start out our rotation. Next, it is Flames of Oblivion. This will give us spell critical and will deal damage to enemies. It does about a little over 5k flame damage. The reason why we're using this, it is for the DPS. The other one is I believe it is called Cauterize. I don't remember what the other one's called, but it basically heals you instead of doing damage, or it heals allies, and that's why we're not using that morph, we're using this one instead. Our next is Elemental Drain. This is from the Destruction Staff skill tree, and this basically applies minor magicka steal to enemies for 24 seconds, so it does last quite a bit, and it gives us Major Breach, reducing their spell resistance by 5,000. So this really does help when we are DPSing, because it also gives us a little bit more magicka back, allowing us to DPS for a bit more longer. Next is Molten Armament. Now this is a bit of our flex spot. Here you can run Rearming Trap. I just don't have it yet at the moment because I haven't leveled up my Fighter's Guild, I believe it's called, on this character. And basically what this does is it gives us Major Sorcery, increasing our spell damage by 20% for 39 seconds, which does last quite a long time, as you can see there, so it's very useful to have, so we don't have to cast this constantly, especially due to the fact that it is quite a little bit of a pricey, not pricey, but a little bit of, it costs quite a bit of resources, but not that much. And it increases our heavy attacks by 40% while this is active, and we're using Standard of Might. And what this does is when it is in effect, when you cast this down, it will do, your healing will be received by 30%, and you'll be a little bit more tanky, as it says there. Reduces the damage taken by 15%, and it does flame damage. and also allies around you can they can press circle and triangle, and it will latch them all together and pull the enemies into that one spot. So this can be used when dealing with groups of enemies or even against a boss. If you're trying to do more damage against them, you'll most likely be using this for both. So that is it for our skills, and also you probably want to see this. This is what our skill trees look like at the moment, and we can reach 3,027 spell damage, I believe. And yeah, we're using Witch Mother's Potent Brew. This is very easy. You can buy the recipe very cheap because they drop a lot during the Witch Mother's event, or maybe you might already have it. If so, you're lucky. You could use Clockwork Citrus Fillet, but that is a bit difficult to craft because it requires perfect row. So if you can't get that, get this instead. This is a good alternative. And down here we are using the Lover, the Mundus Stone called the Lover. And what this does, it increases our spell and physical penetration by over 3,000. And the reason why it's so high is because our armor is all divines. And the reason why we're using this is because we are okay on spell damage. We don't need too much spell damage. It's a little bit overkill in my opinion if I were to get the other one. However, if you do feel like the sustain is not good enough on this build, you can go ahead and switch it over for the Atronach, I believe it's called. And as you can see, Major Prophecy is on almost all the time. I know our magic of recovery seems a little bit bad, but that goes up when you consume a potion. So yeah. Now as for the gear, we're using 5 pieces of Silks of the Sun. This is very easily obtainable from Dolems and Stonefalls. And what it does, it adds 386 spell damage to our flame-based abilities. And it goes to 400 if you have your gear all golden. So try to max that out if you can. But if you can't, purple gear is alright. Next we're using Valken Scoria. The reason why we're using Valken Scoria but not Grothdar or Inferno Guardian or Elambris is because this one hits the hardest out of all those. And it is a good alternative to Zons. It's a good substitute to Zons. Next, we are using Mechanical Acuity, 5 pieces of it, and what this does is it has a 15% chance that we gain this really cool blue effect on our screen, and what it does is for 5 seconds, all our next attacks will all be critical damage, so yeah. And down here we have Rings of the Silks of the Sun jewelry. Now we will go over to champion points, and please forgive my bird. It seems that he has just awoken. That is Hiccup, that's his name. We have 44 points into Thaumaturge, 20 into Staff Expert, 30 into Master at Arms, 19 into Elfborn, 31 into Spell Erosion, 19 into Elemental Expert. However, as you level up, you will be putting a few more into both of these. 37 into Tumbling, 37 into Shadow Ward, 75 into Arcanist, and 14 into Tenacity. As you level up, you're going to be putting a little more in that. 20 into Thick Skins, 20 into Hardy, 20 into Elemental Defender. As you level up, make sure you distribute evenly between these three, your skill points. Next, we have 81 into Ironclad and 23 into Spell Shield. And that's pretty much all there is to this build. I'm hoping I didn't miss anything. However, I will be telling you what my gear is, like my costume, because sometimes I see that in build videos. The helmet is Thieves Guild, I believe. The shoulders is heavy Redguard. Chest is heavy Telvanni. Gloves is heavy Telvanni. Legs is heavy Trinamac. So that is all for this video. This is my first ever build video that I ever released, and I hope on doing more in the future. So if you enjoyed, please click a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.